What's up, Faith family? Jarvis Guy and the Voyager Arts YT here, and welcome back to another Diecast review. Today, we're looking at the 2005 Tail Dragger that was originally introduced in the Red Line series of cars from Hot Wheels. Now, right off the bat, if we look at the bottom here, the copyright date for this is 1997 because that was the year the first Tail Dragger model was introduced. And funnily enough, according to the Hot Wheels Wiki, they do still produce this car, even though the last iteration of it was in 2020, and the iteration before that was in 2015. So as far as I can tell, they're pretty inconsistent in releasing these. And even then, the most recent version of this in 2020 was related to some sort of Spider-Man Venom tie-in crossover. So this is just a stock standard original Hot Wheels car made in Malaysia. And also, according to the Hot Wheels Wiki, this car is not recommended for use on any track sets because of the heavy metal frame. And I can attest to that. This car is noticeably heavier than the other diecast. While it may be seen as a bad thing to some of you who like to use the track sets and all that, I think it's a good thing. It really adds to the durability, and this overall feels like a very strong, durable car. I do have a few issues in particular with the design, but overall I think the build quality of this is very impressive. This was very well done, and I think that there's a reason that this design was able to stay in production for so long, from 1998 officially to 2020. It kind of is a timeless design, and with the metal base and sturdy body, this car will last you a long time. So jumping right into the meat of the review, first off, let's talk about the tires. The tires do technically do the rim thing that I don't like. But this time, it's a little bit different. They don't do it on like the inside of the rim of the vehicle. It's on the rim of the actual tires. And I think that's very cool. This is one of those fancier tire assemblies that you see from Hot Wheels. And I really do like it. The red just meshes very well with the pearl purple body color. And they even managed to paint these wheels too. And that's a big part of the reason why I think overall them choosing the color, the actual tire rims, was a good idea, because they won't wear off as easy on the backside because it's being covered by the rear fender. And to say a few words about the rear fender, I don't particularly like it. I do think that they could have afforded to raise it a little, or at least leave an indentation so that you could see more of the tire. But as it is, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. It just, and it's weird. I do think it makes it simultaneously look cheaper than the car actually feels. And I also think it's also doing a bit too much, because this is very obviously a retro-inspired car from the 30s and 40s and all that, and likely 50s. And seeing designs like you would see on the front fender weren't uncommon, but they weren't this ridiculous with the rear fenders. It makes the draping here look more like a dress. I guess in some senses that could work, but I don't think they've ever really employed a design for this that really made it work. And I don't think it really works with the pearl purple here. So yeah, the rear fenders, I'm not too impressed by that. The back, there is no trunk, which is a bit interesting. That certainly isn't something they carried over from cars of the past, since they didn't indeed have trunks. But I guess since this is more, since it's a Hot Wheels original, this is more of a performance car, I guess there would really be no need for a trunk. And moving on to the front here, there's some very good curves and angles on the front, and there's not a whole lot I can criticize it for. This design really does have a lot of character, but it also feels somewhat grounded, which is part of why the rear fenders bother me. And again, it really does feel like grounded design. It really does feel like this could have come from one of the major auto manufacturers way back in the day. And you look inside, there is an interior. It's decently done. I'm not seeing much of a center console, so gotta deduct points for that. But otherwise, the interior looks fine. You can tell there's a ridge sort of seating style in the center, which I do like. I think that was very cool that they decided to go the extra mile with that, especially when the purple, even on camera and in real life, the purple just sort of demands your attention. It just steals all the color away from the black inside. You know what? For something that isn't particularly visible in real life or on camera, I think they did a good job for it. And I just thought, you know what? I haven't said anything about the interiors for the past few reviews, so may as well say some now. Even though there was nothing much to speak of in my previous set of reviews, since that wasn't a very important aspect of those cars. Yeah, this is the Tail Dragger. Good angles, pretty decent design choices for the most part. And you know what? A very cool retro aesthetic. Reminds me a lot of those retro style cars that you saw a lot in the early 2000s, like the PT Cruiser, Chevy HHR. Those are very cool cars, and although I like them for other reasons, you got to admit the retro design, it really did translate well to a 21st century context. And I guess this right here translated to a pretty good late 90s context that they continued to use for over 20 years afterwards, because I couldn't tell you why Hot Wheels uses this up to 2020. I absolutely could not tell you. But yeah, putting aside that, that's all I have to say about the 2005 Hot Wheels Tail Dragger. Pretty decent car. If you see it, I'd say it's 50-50 whether you should pick it up. It's probably going to be cheap, since, I mean, even with a car released in 2020, there's not going to be a whole lot of scarcity for this. But I definitely say use your judgment on whether to pick it up only in person, because I see this on eBay, and I hate to mention eBay, but I see it on eBay selling for $6, this particular variant. But if you want a different kind of variant, then that'll run you $27, $10 plus dollars. Is not a great situation in terms of the pricing on this thing. So definitely try to only buy this in person. And if you do buy it in person, the only particular version of this that I would 100% recommend buying would be either the very first Tail Dragger model, the fully blue one from 1998, or the most recent Spider-Man Venom crossover model from 2020. So those are the only two exceptions of which I would say it's definitely buy. Otherwise, it's just completely 50-50. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the Tail Dragger. As always, thank you all for watching, and that'll be it for me. Driver's Guide now. Have a great night.